Why should you even care about Mercury doing its retrograde? Why should I care that Mercury's doing the cha-cha slide, right? Why should I care that Mercury's going reverse?
Reverse! Reverse!
So yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to talk about what Mercury retrograde is, and then from there, we're gonna just talk about why should you care? Let's get into what Mercury retrograde actually is. Mercury retrograde is when Mercury, the planet in the sky, right, goes backwards in orbit, or it looks like it's going backwards in orbit. It's really an optical illusion from our perspective on Earth. It's not that Mercury is actually going backwards in its orbit. It just looks like that from where we stand here. I always call it like, it looks like Mercury is backpedaling. So in Astro Talk, what it means for us is review, revise, reflect, go back. Okay, that's what it means. Mercury represents a lot of things that have to do with how we connect to others. It has to deal with communication. It has to deal with travel. It has to deal with technology. It has to deal with even dexterity and coordination. It has to deal with our thoughts. It has to do with our speech and like I said, how we communicate with others, how we get these thoughts. It also deal with businesses and merchants and create barter, things pointing to each other. The only like Hermes, the god of Mercury in Rome and in Greek it is Hermes, right? And so Mercury is ruled by like the god Hermes, the winged god, the one who flies back and forth and was known to be able to actually ferry souls to the underworld as well. So there is this idea of Mercury being that goes everywhere. It's the go-between. And so a lot of our go-betweens might get intercepted and might be a little slower than usual or delayed. There might be some mishaps. Things might get lost. That's very Piscean. We're having a Mercury in Pisces right now if you're watching this, but it doesn't matter what time or day or whenever century. We still have YouTube back then. It doesn't matter when you're watching this. This is just to talk about what Mercury retrograde is. Why should I care that Mercury's doing the cha-cha slide, right? Why should I care that Mercury's going reverse?
Reverse! Reverse!
There is a reason, I promise you, and it's necessary that you know, because I always say that regardless of not, if you believe in astrology, astrology is happening. So how is Mercury retrograde going to affect you? And why does it matter? So the reason why we talk about how Mercury retrograde is going to affect you is because Mercury it rules over things like communication and technology and transportation. And so when Mercury is going retrograde, there might be some miscommunications. There might be some delays even, especially like if you want something mailed or shipped, there might be some delays with that. The other thing too is that past connections can be an aspect, and we always talk about this, exes and stuff like that. But for real, like people that we've shared history with from the past and people that we had connections, past connections can come back. All right, so maybe someone misses you, maybe someone had emotions for you in the past and kind of wants to revive them. So that's also something that a lot of times happens during Mercury retrogrades. People from the past come back. This can be good and bad. If you want that person to come back, great. For some of you guys, for example, if you were to have Mercury retrograde in your 7th house oftentimes is like business. It's not just relationships, but it can be business. So if you have a business, like you might even see like past clientele or clientele coming back that you haven't seen in a while. There might be some glitches with your technology. So it's super important that you back up your data as often as you can, and you double check your correspondences as well, because that's another thing. You might make a mistake and say the wrong thing, or you may make a lot of errors when you type and you don't realize it, or maybe you put the wrong attachment. Like, you want to watch out for these things. You want to preview stuff before you send them out, okay? The other thing too that you can do during Mercury retrogrades, or like why you should care and how it affects you, is this is a really good time to kind of reconsider your options and not to get fixated on one type of thing. It's a good time to explore your options and to kind of research them. Mercury retrogrades are really good for research, okay? So this is something where you don't want to get locked into something. You don't make permanent decisions during retrogrades. So this is a way that it could affect you, where maybe you have to research and you have to look into things a little bit more before you make a choice. So what can you do during Mercury retrograde? So during a Mercury retrograde, what you can do is all the RE words. You can do all the RE words that you want, okay? So I'll go through a few of them. I won't list them all, but maybe I'll put them in like, I don't know, like a scrolling Star Wars theme. But you want to reconnect during Mercury retrogrades. You want to review, you want to reflect, you want to maybe revisit or relearn or return to something. This is also a really good time to maybe like appreciate and reward people who matter in your life. Like if you're a boss, like maybe reward your employees for sticking around for so long and helping you reach your goals. That's like a big thing, like showing thanks and gratitude for the people who have been with you through thick and thin. I know a lot of people, for example, might want to tie the knot, but retie the knot for their vows. So this is a really good time to rekindle romance. Want to redo stuff the right way, or the way that you want to do. Like a lot of times, like for example, like couples maybe didn't have enough money to like get married or have that big wedding or do it the way they wanted to do. So maybe this is their opportunity to do that again. So they redo things. So this is great energy for redoing things the way you want to do it as well. Say you have a business, maybe you didn't like the way you started off on the wrong foot. So maybe this Mercury retrograde, you kind of go back and you redo things, or you restructure things, or you change your offerings and you offer something different, or you change how maybe your payment structure. Super important that you listen more during this retrograde. Don't talk so much. Listen, observe, sit back, and pause and reflect. So this is a good time to practice patience as well, but you want to listen. Like, take the time to really absorb what's going on around you. You're going to gain a lot more information this way. And the other random tidbits too is forgive. You want to try to forgive during Mercury retrogrades. Bury the hatchets if you can with people. Rely on the experience. Rely on people who've been through it before. So that's another thing. Getting second opinions from people, getting advice is a really good thing to do during Mercury retrogrades. Like, reviews. Like, that's why reviews are such a really great resource. So many companies want to have reviews because it basically verifies if their product works and more people will buy them. So people's firsthand accounts of things are super important, and it allows us to make more informed decisions. So make sure that you're reaching out to people with more experience than you, maybe people who are older than you with more experience, or people who've been through it before. The other thing is you want to be as clear as possible during Mercury retrograde. You don't want to be misunderstood. We're already struggling with that, so try your best to be as clear as possible. Spell it out for people. Please spell it out. You and them will thank you. And the last thing is, and this is my favorite one, you're allowed to change your mind. You are not stuck to one thing. If you maybe made a decision and Mercury retrograde comes, I think Mercury retrograde might be there to undo your decision. So it might be there to kind of allow you to explore your options. You're allowed to go back and change your mind. You know what? I'm not feeling this. I don't want to do it.
I don't know. I just don't think this is great for me. I don't want to do it. I want to go home. I can't take the pressure of it. But don't you think any job interview...
Or I don't like this. I changed my mind. You're allowed to change your mind. So it's super important during Mercury retrograde that you listen to the signs and you do your research, you explore your options. If there's something you want to change, if there's something you want to not go through with, maybe that's why Mercury retrograde sometimes comes. Mercury retrograde comes to reveal things for us and to make us aware that maybe this isn't the best option for you. Mercury retrograde is a very helpful transit, I think, for a lot of people. And then after the retrograde, see maybe if you still want to change your mind. So you're allowed to change your mind during retrogrades, and I think it's a sign to do so and to explore every option at your disposal. There have been many times where I've changed my mind during Mercury retrogrades, and because of all the research and information and learning that I did during it, I came out of it a little better informed, and I was better able to make an informed decision and change the course of whatever the heck I was choosing, okay? So Mercury retrogrades are really all not that bad. Like, remember your RE words when it comes to retrogrades. Take the time to kind of go back and reflect and renew or refresh things that you were working on in the past, picking up past projects, hobbies, reconnecting with old friends, or reconnecting with, maybe you're looking for a new job. Maybe it's a good time to refresh your references, and so reaching out to your references and letting them know your intentions, and possibly trying to, maybe one of them can give you a letter of recommendation, right? RE words, recommendation. So yeah, so those are some things that you can actually utilize the energy for, and they are very positive. Shouldn't do during Mercury retrograde is start new things. You don't want to start new things, guys. You also don't want to buy new things. Yeah, I said it. You don't want to buy new things. So basically, don't start something. There won't be nothing. The reason why I say that is because the energy puts us on a steep learning curve, all right? And starting new things can and will make you an expert against your will. I've done it before. I don't recommend it. Mercury retrograde comes, it basically wants you to review things and learn about things, especially things you didn't really know about, but it wants you to dive deeper. So when you start new things, it's going to be a lot more difficult because Mercury retrograde is going to present you with problems. And you're like, really? Just problems? Is that what Mercury retrograde is only about? No, it's not. But what I'm saying is, what can go wrong will go wrong. I call it a learning curve. You could call it boot camp, but it's just wanting you to do research. It wants you to learn more about whatever topic that you are embarking on. So I really don't recommend starting new things. I think it's just too time heavy. Unless that is something you want to do. If you want to do research, perfect time for doing it. I really don't recommend starting new things during a retrograde. There's plenty of things that you can go back to. You don't need to start a new thing right away. And don't buy new things. If you buy new things, you might have to return it. So typically there might be an issue or something going on with the thing that you buy. So I always tell people keep their receipts after they make big purchases. But I would never make a big purchase during Mercury retrograde. I wouldn't even buy technology during Mercury retrograde. You might get the one thing that's recalled. Like, I'm serious, like it might go on a recall or something. So don't do it. Don't rush. You do not want to rush during Mercury retrograde. You will be in a world of trouble if you do that. Mercury retrograde wants you to slow down. You will miss things if you rush during Mercury retrograde. Mercury rules over the mind, and when it's retrograde, things aren't working at full capacity or full speed, okay? So you might miss things more easily than you would normally. So do not rush, or you might be in a world of trouble depending on what you are rushing. It's really recommended that you take your time, you get second opinions, you get people to look things over, and that you pad the time you need to make sure that you have enough time to review things. And the next thing you don't want to do is assume. You do not want to assume during Mercury retrograde. Assuming makes an ass out of you and me. So do not assume things. You might not have the whole picture. You do not want to go around accusing or assuming something about someone or a situation. You don't know everything yet. You think you know it all, but you really have no idea.
You think you know, but you have no idea.
Don't be a know-it-all during this time. Also, don't want foot in mouth syndrome, okay? You might speak up about something. It turns out you're the wrong one. So it's super important that you don't jump to conclusions. And also give the benefit of the doubt if you can. It would serve you better, and you don't have to walk back whatever you say in the moment. You would be able to save face if you don't do all that, right? Just don't react too quickly. Save your reactions a little bit, okay? So what I have is being unprepared. All right, this is when you have to think of Murphy's Law. So Murphy's Law is whatever can go wrong will. Best to prepare for a number of different scenarios, right? I gotta say that people with anxiety, you'll probably sail right through this Mercury retrograde. You'll probably sail through most Mercury retrogrades. Obviously it's stressful, but you guys tend to overthink and over prepare and account for situations that probably would never theoretically happen. Able to like think up all these scenarios that maybe has like a 0.9% chance of happening, but it can. So you guys might over prepare, so good for you. But for all my other type B people, recommended that you do a little bit more, okay? Maybe pack like an umbrella in your car. Maybe carry some, if you live like on the eastern part of the US or something like that, maybe put some like ice, ice scrapers, or an extra like a portable shovel, ice defroster spray or something like that. Put like a blanket or like a battery charger in your car, or like there's like these little things you want to prepare for, like carry an extra, like if you're in school or in business or something, maybe carry an extra charger, carry an extra pen, maybe take more water with you if you're traveling or you're hiking or something like that, like take that extra protein bar, like things like that, little things that you would, like, oh, I'm maybe doing too much. Just over prepare. You just never know what could occur, right? You just never know, and you'll be so grateful that you did. So make sure you add in a little extra of whatever you think you might need, right? The whole idea, like, make sure you take extra. I know when I travel, I pack like 600 underwears. Because like you just never know, like I never know how many times I'm gonna want to change or something like that, right? But seriously, over prepare, it will save you. Next thing I want to say is don't be stubborn. Don't be too stubborn. It's super important that you're adaptable and that you're flexible during this frustrating time. A lot of us sometimes want to like put our feet in the ground and not want to change, but you just can't do that during Mercury retrogrades. You're gonna have to be flexible because things are gonna change, and it's just the way it is. So please don't be stubborn. Don't be too risky during Mercury retrogrades. I'm not telling people like don't have like, life is risky, like duh, but there's this idea of don't incur undue risk. If there's a chance that like there's a like, oh, maybe it'll work out, or maybe this or maybe that, you don't know. Mercury retrograde will humble you. Let's say one, they're going to start something new, so they're like, I'm going to invest in this new startup that I've never heard of and I haven't done enough research in, which Mercury retrograde would not support. They'd be like, well, you should have done more research. I'm going to support this startup and I'm going to put in, I don't know, all my life savings. What? If you think that's not risky, I don't know what to tell you, but that's risky. You would put all your money into something that you barely know anything about. It's definitely not the time to do it. You want to always do your research, which I just told you for Mercury retrogrades, and you just don't do risky things because whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Last thing you shouldn't do is stop living. I know a lot of people, and me included, I just want to hide during Mercury retrogrades. I don't want to do anything. I always get scared because like I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna fuck something up, or I'm gonna mess up, or this is gonna happen, and I don't want to do this, and I don't want to sign this, and I don't want to. You can't stop life. Like that's not the whole point of astrology, to like stop you from living. The life keeps going on. You have to continue, and so you have to live your life. You can't live under a rock for this whole period, and you can just work with the energy. But we use this knowledge to help navigate things. We don't use this knowledge to avoid life. We don't use it like that. But at least you're prepared so you can mitigate any damage or any worst case scenario from taking place, okay? I mean, like, I wouldn't personally sign big contracts, but like, unfortunately, some of you guys, maybe it's destined that you deal with something like this during a Mercury retrograde. That could just be fate, you know? The the other thing I would say about it is, like, if you've been working towards something for a very long time and you've been going back and forth, and maybe it maybe fell through, and then during a Mercury retrograde, maybe you got everything situated. That is completely Mercury retrograde personified. And maybe it's like, that's what I'm saying. It could just be the energy that you finally tie loose ends during Mercury retrograde and you sign it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't have to be clear cut. So that could be the actual energy itself, meaning that you're doing a contract during a period of revision. All right. Some people might even be like re-honoring vows, for example. Like a lot of times people, like, I wouldn't recommend a Mercury retrograde, like a wedding during Mercury retrograde, but like people who've been married for years and they're tying the knot again during Mercury retrograde, like, it makes sense because it's the energy. They're just renewing their vows. They've been together for years, and so it's kind of like they're reflecting and they're going back to honor a union that has been through thick and thin. So that's kind of how Mercury retrograde might play out for them. So that's what I wanted to explain to you guys. That's what you shouldn't do during Mercury retrogrades, but you can't stop living. So that's one of the biggest ones, okay? So that's what Mercury retrograde is. I hope that helps you guys. This is a video that you can kind of come back to and get a refresher on if you ever need it. But Mercury retrograde is not here to hurt you. It's not here to scare you, and it's definitely not here to necessarily derail you, but it is a period of reflection for all of us to kind of slow down and take a moment and decide if we're doing everything the way we should be, if that makes sense. Maybe there's things that we should clear up with others. Maybe there are some relationships or connections we have that either need a resurgence, or maybe we need to review our exposure to them and cut them out. So these are things that Mercury retrograde kind of comes around and tries to help us get clear on, and it tries to clarify stuff, and it wants us to kind of go back in time and review all of these things and how they affect us, and see if we can make them better, or if we can clear things up and close the loop, so to speak. Okay, so that's why Mercury is going back in its orbit and it's closing a loop so that we can continue back on track, but with clarity. All right, that's all I have for you. Let me know how you feel about Mercury retrograde. Let me know what signs you guys are. I might have a little tidbit of advice for you if you want. If you tell me what your sign is, or whatnot. But yeah, let me know down below in the comments, like, what your sun is, and I might be able to give you some advice on what to do this Mercury retrograde. All right, bye guys. Talk to you guys later. Bye.